Battle of the Trench. Yathrib, Medina. In February-March April AD 627. After which 600 to 900 Jewish males, boys and men were beheaded. Islamic sources are not certain about the correct dates. Muslims will often accuse the Jews of having violated their treaty with the Muslims, and that the Muslims were justified in killing them as penalty. Looking closer at the events, one different picture emerges. Bani Qurayza was the last Jewish tribe left in Yathrib. 1. 3,000 Muslims defending Islam. 2. 600 to 900 of Banu Qurayza Jews, last Jewish tribe. 3. 10,000 to 12,000 pagans and Jews. These Jews were some time earlier driven from their properties in Yathrib, Medina. Defensive trench in case of attack would turn into obstacle and trap Muslims in the event that the Banu Qurayza Jews would have fought with pagans and Jews. The recent convert to Islam, Nuaym of the Qathem tribe, volunteered himself in any way that would help. Mohammed set out on a plan, using Nuaym's affiliations with the Quraysh and the Jews as a ruse. The apostle said, "You are only one man among us. Go and awake mistrust among the enemy, to draw them off us, if you can, for war is deceit." In short, this is what happened. He told the Jews, "Take as security some nobles from the coalition," and to the leaders of the coalition, he told that the Jews would turn over their nobles to Qathem so that he could then kill them. When the Jews came with their request, the leaders of the coalition, of course, refused to hand them over. This led then to a break up of the coalition. Tabari Volume 3, page 17. The Muslims and the polytheists stayed in their positions for 20 nights with no fighting, except for the shooting of arrows and the siege. The only place left to cross into the enemy territory would be through the area controlled by the Jews. Now what did the Muslims actually expect from the Jews? That 600 to 900 males fight on the behalf, and with the 3,000 Muslims, still outnumbered as they were, fight on the side of the Muslims, who had driven out their Jewish brothers. The Qurayza Jews actually were protecting the Muslims. After the coalition was divided, the pagans would have to fight the Qurayza Jews first to get through to the Muslims. None of the pagans could cross into the inner circle where the 3,000 Muslims were. Since the Jews were trying to stay on neutral grounds, the Muslims were in fact protected just by the sheer presence of the Jews. It was a standstill, the outcome Qathem had hoped for, and he knew that sooner or later the coalition forces would leave. The siege was prolonged for more than 25 days. It was winter. The supply of food and water and forage was becoming more and more scarce every day, and division in the camp was also a great strain on the state of morale of the besiegers. Then suddenly one night a severe windstorm, accompanied by thunder and lightning, hit the camp. It added to the cold and darkness. The wind overthrew the tents and put the enemy in disarray. They could not stand the severe blow of nature. They left the battleground even during the night and returned to their homes. When God's apostle returned on the day of the battle of Al-Khandaq trench, he put down his arms and took a bath. Then Gabriel, whose head was covered with dust, came to him saying, "You have put down your arms." "By God, I have not put down my arms yet." God's apostle said, "Where to go now?" Gabriel said, "This way," pointing towards the tribe of Bani Qurayza. So God's apostle went out towards them. Qathem and the Muslims were now in the position to besiege the Qurayza Jews for another 25 days, after which they surrendered to him. Let's recall, there took no real fighting place when the pagans besieged the Muslims. Also the Muslims had the dirt of the trench on their side of the trench. The Jews, outnumbered in comparison to the Muslims, stayed in their place. One most certainly would like to know what the Jews did to deserve to be killed in this manner as prisoners of war. Deadly result of siege for many male Jews. Sahih Bukhari, Volume 5, Book 59, number 447, narrated by Abu Said al-Qadri. The people of Banu Qurayza agreed to accept the verdict of Sa'd bin Wad. So the Prophet sent for Sa'd, and the latter came riding a donkey, and when he approached the mosque, the Prophet said to the answer, "Get up for your chief, or for the best among you, Then the Prophet said to Sa'd, "These Banu Qurayza have agreed to accept your verdict." Sa'd said, "Kill their men, warriors, and take their offspring as captives." On that the Prophet said, "You have judged according to Allah's judgment," or said, "according to the king's judgment." End quote. After the siege, the women and children are taken as sex slaves, or sold. 600 to 900 males were killed, and the property of the Jews divided as spoils among the Muslims.